And if you're lighting up my way, I'll be yours till break of day.
Hot mess alert. Oh my gosh. I haven't even like looked in a mirror today. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I just wanted to film this little clip to begin with before you guys watch this video. This is a video that I filmed like a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to put it up for you guys. You guys know, if you've been watching, that I have been in Georgia for the past like 2 weeks waiting on my sister to have her little boy. Look like Rudolph with a red nose. My allergies. I've been up here for 2 weeks waiting for my sister to have her baby. They decided that they were going to induce her today, the day that you're watching this video. So last Thursday I decided to drive back to Florida to spend the weekend with Derek because I hadn't seen him in 2 weeks. And Friday night her water broke, and so I made the 8-hour drive back home on Thursday night. I got home at 8 p.m. and then at 8 p.m. the next night she told me her water broke, and so I drove all the way here overnight. I made it here like 5 a.m. and he was born at 9 a.m. so I made it in time. I was so worried that I was not going to. And so I have been spending all of my time with them and with my niece, and I'm going to be here for the next 2 weeks probably, just helping out with them and spending time snuggling all of the babies. And so the vlogs may be a little bit sporadic. I don't know what I'm going to get up. I don't have anything filmed. I was planning on Derek and I filming all last weekend so that we had a bunch of stuff to put up for you guys. I think I have one vlog, and I don't even know that it's a full vlog of our one day that we got to spend together this last weekend. So bear with us through these next 2 weeks as we just spend time cuddling and snuggling and loving on these babies. Derek's coming up this next weekend to meet him, and so he's really excited about that. But this is getting really long now and I didn't plan for it to be. Enjoy this video about us, or how we chose our adoption agency. We will see you guys again soon. We love you guys. Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to do a little bit of an informational video about how we chose our adoption agency. Now, if you guys have been following us for a long time, then you probably remember that at the beginning of this year, I believe it was, we had chosen an adoption agency. We were deciding kind of the time frame of when we were going to adopt, and we chose an agency, and we thought that we really liked them. We had to go through a couple of courses with them, and kind of along the way of thankfully getting started with them, we hadn't put in any significant amount of money. We realized that they were not the adoption agency for us. We started looking up reviews, especially on Facebook. I was kind of shocked at how many bad reviews they had on Facebook. And obviously the stuff on their website is kind of more catered to being positive. I'm not saying that all websites only show the positive of their reviews, but everything that we saw was very positive. So we kind of had an interesting situation with our caseworker, where she just was not very nice, and it was taking her a long time to get back to us, and it was kind of like they were giving us the runaround a little bit. So I started looking up reviews, and that's when I found these bad reviews. That's one thing that I would recommend to anyone who is looking even into the adoption process. Is the number one thing you want to make sure of is that you have an adoption agency that you trust, because you're going to be putting a lot of money and time and effort into this process, and you want someone who is reciprocating that. The adoption agency that we chose, I have never talked to anybody, the agency that we're using now, let me say that, the second agency. I've never talked to anybody that wasn't completely kind and nice and wanted to get our problem solved as quickly as possible. That has been super helpful and taken so much stress out of the whole process, because it is beyond a stressful process. It is a crazy roller coaster. It's something that you've never experienced before. It's something that a lot of people around you have never experienced before. And so sometimes you feel like you're kind of alone in this process, as far as like getting answers to things and how you do things. And so making sure that you have an adoption agency that is working with you and is really being an advocate for you is something that is really important. So if you want to know the first agency that we used, I don't want to like badmouth them or anything. I'm sure they still do a great job. They're not a small agency, they're a national agency. So if you want to know that agency name, you can send us an email at derekandliza@gmail.com or DM me on Twitter or something. I don't want to badmouth them. Like I said, a lot of people use them, and obviously they have successful adoptions, otherwise they wouldn't still be in business. So one thing that intrigued us with that first adoption agency was their pricing. They were a lot cheaper than a lot of other adoption agencies. And now looking back, I feel like while yes, price is a big issue and it's something that you need to think about and you need to talk about as far as your budget, it's not a situation where you need to go with the cheapest option, I feel. Obviously, like I said, you've got to do what you're comfortable with or what you can do financially, but it's not the kind of thing that you want to skimp on. I mean, just the difference in our first agency and our second agency has been enormous and huge, and I don't know if we had stayed with that first agency what point we would be in right now. I don't know that we would be getting ready to go live and be matched with a baby. I don't know. Maybe we would be, but it just was an uncomfortable situation for both of us. The second agency that we chose, I can go ahead and tell you that name because we love them, is American Adoptions. We researched several adoption agencies after leaving the first one, and we had never signed with them or anything. Thankfully, we had not made it to that point in time. We were right up to that point of being like, okay, we're gonna use you guys, and then all of these issues came up. So thankfully we didn't have to worry about that, and like I said, we didn't have an enormous amount of money that was already put into it. So we started looking for a different adoption agency. We knew we wanted a bigger agency because we knew we didn't want to have a long wait time. We wanted to be matched quickly. We didn't want to wait 2 years because a lot of people wait a long time. And I've seen several questions from people asking about how we have such a short wait time. Our longest point of our wait time we were given was 9 months. And it has a lot to do with how big your agency is. It has a lot to do with how much money you're willing to put into it. That has a lot to do with it. If you have a larger budget, you're going to be matched faster. Another thing that has a lot to do with that is how open you are to your preferences as far as race, gender. They said that people who are gender specific take a lot longer to match than people who are completely open. It's also more expensive at our agency to select your gender. So that played a little bit of a part into us being completely open to the gender. As far as race and everything else, if you're open to that, or if you're open to any kind of drug use or cigarette use or alcohol use, all of that stuff plays a part into how long you're going to wait. But also having a national agency so that you are not just having an agency look in the state of Florida, for our example, or even within Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. If you have an agency who is looking all over the United States for potential birth mother matches for you, then that's going to make it a lot faster too. We have absolutely loved them. The only part of the process that we haven't loved, which is kind of funny considering that we post videos on YouTube, is that they require you to do a video profile where you answer questions on video and then they put everything together and make a video profile to show potential birth mothers. And I don't know why, it just was hard for us. We really struggled. And if you want to see some clips from that, I'll link the video in the description below. It's quite comical and we laughed through the whole thing. But it was tough. It was really tough. That was the toughest part of that. With American Adoptions, they have a separate home study group, or group of social workers, I guess, who are licensed in certain states. They are only licensed in certain states to do home studies, and thankfully Florida was one of them. So number one, we got to have a cheaper home study. I think we paid like $850 or $899 for it, and a lot of other places are even up to like $1,500. So we were able to do that, and it just seemed like an easier process because when we were waiting on documents or we had questions about things, I could email our adoption agency directly and they were able to answer those questions for us. So that was really, really nice. That's something that I really liked about American Adoptions. And like I said, every person that I have talked to has been just the most kind person. They really seem to care about their families, and they want to make sure that their match is the best match that they can make it. And so we filled out our APQ, which was, I think, adoptive parent questionnaire, something like that, where we put in all of our preferences, and then we actually had one of their caseworkers call us and go over the entire thing. It took over an hour, but she just went into detail and explained everything and recommended changes that we maybe should make to have more matches or have a quicker match. And so that was just super helpful. I felt like I had a lot to do, but I didn't have a lot of questions, I guess. I knew what I needed to do, and I knew that they were doing what they needed to do, and so at the end we were all going to come together, bring everything together, and we were going to be ready to go live. I cannot say enough good things about them. Obviously we have not been matched yet, and we have not gone through that process or the post-placement process or anything. So I will do another update video about our adoption agency after we are through with everything. But so far so good, and I have been really, really happy with what they have done. There's several large kind of national adoption agencies other than the one that we chose. I don't know what it was about this agency specifically. It just seemed inviting when I visited their webpage, and then I requested information and someone called me directly from the agency just to check in and see if we had any questions, and none of the other agencies did that with us. I think maybe that was the kind of turning point. Actually, in that call I said, we want to use you guys, so what do we need to do next? What's our next step? So just pay attention to little things like that. When you feel comfortable, it's probably a good sign. I felt like with the first adoption agency that I felt like it was an agency, and I felt like we were just using them for what we needed to use them for, and then we would never speak to them again. Many of the people that I've talked with in American Adoptions and worked with, I feel like are people that I would send birthday cards to, or baby pictures to, and I want to share the rest of the experience with them and not just kind of end contact as soon as we get what we need out of them, so to speak. So definitely do your research. Don't just pick American Adoptions because we said that they worked for us. They may not work for you. Maybe somebody else works for you. Maybe the agency that we decided was not for us is the one that worked perfectly for you. This video is just to give pointers on how we chose ours, not necessarily to say our adoption agency is the best. So be sure to ask questions. Make sure that you and your partner are comfortable if you have a partner and are adopting together. Make sure that you're both comfortable and you both feel comfortable and you think that it's the right thing to do or the right agency to go with. That plays a big part in it too. Derek was 100% on board with me as far as picking American Adoptions. We both felt very comfortable, and there's not been one point in time since then that we have kind of said, I mean, we've got to finish with them because we've now put all this money into it, but we wish we didn't have to. I would say definitely check out American Adoptions if you have not, and check out a bunch of other places. Read discussion boards, go to the Facebook pages and read the reviews there. Search blank agency reviews. Look up wait times. That has a big thing too. Look up how many adoptions they do a year. That was another big thing. If they're only completing 30 adoptions a year, the chances are you're probably going to wait longer unless they put a limit on how many families that they have waiting at a time. American Adoptions, I'm probably gonna get this number wrong, but for some reason I'm thinking it's over 350 a year. So, you know, obviously they've got a large amount of adoptions that they're kind of turning over. Another thing that was important to us was we wanted to find out how the adoption agency dealt with their birth mothers, or how they handled them, or what the birth mother experience was with the agency. We wanted an agency that was really an advocate for the birth mothers and made sure that the choice that they were making was something that they felt comfortable with, and that they weren't just making it because they felt pressured by anyone or because they didn't know how to handle the situation, or they didn't think that they could raise a baby, or they weren't smart enough, or whatever it might be. We want to make sure that's kind of a priority for us, is we want to make sure that the birth mothers are taken care of, and we want to make sure that they're never in a situation where they feel like they have to give up their baby because somebody else wants it. There's a lot of situations where birth mothers at the last minute decide not to put their baby up for adoption or not to place them, and that's fine. Obviously, the important thing is that the baby is safe and healthy, and that the birth mother is happy and healthy with her decision. Be sure to leave me any questions that you guys have in the comments about our adoption agency. Like I said, you can private message me or send me an email. If you want more kind of in-depth information about the first agency that we chose, or if you have any kind of personal questions about the situation in general, we are super excited to be getting ready to go live. Now that the home study has been approved, it's like a weight has been lifted off of our shoulders, and we are so excited and so ready. It's just, it feels like a dream. And so we are so excited to be able to continue this adoption journey and kind of make it over the hump and be just waiting to be matched. So we're super excited about that. We will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoy these types of videos, and make sure to subscribe to watch the rest of our adoption baby journey. We'll see you guys later. Bye.